Hi, and thank you for joining this training module for an overview of the online circuit breaker claiming system. My name is Shannon Scully. I'm from the Office of District and School Finance at DESE, and I'm pleased to be able to present to you highlights of the FY26 claim system. This presentation is going to provide a brief summary of the benefits of the claim system, highlight important new features that have been added to the system, talk about how users should go about gaining access to the system, provide some best practices that districts should undertake to prepare for claiming, go through the claim timelines, both for extraordinary relief and for final year-end claims, and go into some detail about the ways districts can seek additional support to be able to accurately file your claims. This is just part one of the overview. Part two is contained in a different video module, and it provides a demonstration of the basic navigation within the system, including where to find important functionality that you'll need to create and check and submit your claims. So we encourage you to take a look at that part two after viewing this initial overview. So why did we move to an online claim system beginning in February of 2025? We used to, as you may recall, use an Excel-based reporting mechanism, but really moving to an online system had the goal of making the entire effort of districts to be reimbursed for high-cost special education services a lot easier for you. So our goal was to provide a more straightforward way to collect expense data from districts and to do it in a way that is easier for districts to navigate and access. We also put effort into loading the data validation up front. So when you're being asked for information, we're trying to make sure that it meets certain rules and makes logical sense. So after the claim submitted, we're not taking time from your day to ask for additional backup materials or requesting further supporting documentation. We're really trying to bring the data validation closer to the start of the process as you're entering your claims. But even with all the changes in the way that we are now collecting your claim data online, I want to point out that the rest of the circuit breaker program remains exactly as it was for the many years when we were using Excel-based claim files as well. So, for example, the expenses that are qualified for reimbursement through the program, they remain exactly the same. The claim cycles that are available, they're the same. We still have extraordinary relief and year-end claim cycles, and the timing is roughly the same as in previous years. Additionally, the way that reimbursements are calculated, that also remains the same. So although the system has gone online, the fundamental aspects of the program remain unchanged and in place. On this slide, I just want to highlight a few of the features that are upgraded since we initially launched the system. First, when you log in, you're going to notice that there's additional help text and explanatory information that's on each screen throughout the claim system. So for example, you should look for an icon that has the letter I in it next to field names within the system. And if you click on that I icon, you'll be able to read an explanation of the data that you should be entering for that particular field. Additionally, embedded in the screens in the online system are links to video training modules, such as the one that you're watching right now, that will tell you how to do specific activities. For example, on the placement creation page, each type of placement that you can create is a hyperlink that will bring you to a training video that explains how to create that specific type of placement, whether it be transportation or in-district placements or approved program placements or so on. Next, we've also made it easier for you to search and identify the correct program when you're creating out-of-district placements. So it's very important that expenses are reported at the specific program that a student attended. And now when you begin to type the program name in that field, it will be doing a dynamic search to automatically narrow what is available to you to select based on your entry. So for example, if you wanted to claim tuition at Bi-County Collaborative, when you start to type the first two letters, which is B and I, the program list that's available to you will automatically be narrowed to only entries that include the letters B and I in the program name. So that would include, for example, Billerica, which obviously has a B and I at the beginning, and Quabbin, which has a B and I in the middle. And of course, Bi-County Collaborative would be there for you to select too. In addition to being able to do that dynamic search by name, you can also do the search by program code when looking for an appropriate program to make sure that that matches where the student has attended. Next, we've added additional validation and error checking, and we hope that this is now made easier for you. Previously, districts were instructed to run through a number of reports and do so in a specific sequence in order to clear any errors or data discrepancies before those expenses could be submitted on the claim. Instead, we've now introduced a validation section of the claim system where districts can go to view all the issues that need to be resolved prior to submission. And that will also have text there that lets you know what steps you need to take to resolve the issues in order to be able to submit the expenses. Next, in response to suggestions by districts for in-district placements, you can now clone services for a student from the student's prior year expenses onto this year's claim. So when cloning, districts can select the most recent placement from the prior year for a specific student, then select the specific services that you want to carry over into a new placement on the current claim. So when you do that, the number of hours and the group type for each service will also be copied over as a part of cloning. So you'll need to take care that those hours and the group type match what should be claimed for this particular year. And if not, you'll need to go in and make edits to match this year's IEP to confirm you're claiming accurately. The district will also be required to update IEP date information, such as the start and end date of the current IEP, and to provide information that tells us what date the parent signed the latest IEP. But we hope that this cloning feature will save the district time because you won't have to add each individual service to the new placement. You can clone it from last year. Another change is that we're adding a district dashboard to make reporting easier for your district's claimed expenses. You'll be able to go in and see reports of your expenses on a per student and per placement basis, and you'll be able to export those to Excel right from a district dashboard. Next, we've made changes to the way that districts can certify and submit claims once they're complete. Previously, only one user per district was given permission to submit the district claim. But feedback indicated this was logistically challenging and overly burdensome for districts. So now, instead, as part of the submission process, the user will need to affirm that they have been given the authority to submit the claim on behalf of their district, and anyone who can log into the system will be able to do that on behalf of their district. And finally, every year, the claim threshold is increased per statute based on an inflation factor. For FY26, the threshold has increased 1.93%, bringing it to $53,431. Expenses are reimbursed on a per student basis, meaning reimbursement will kick in for total qualified expenses over that $53,431 threshold. The next couple slides talk about ways to access the online claim system. So it's important to know that only people that have been given specific authority from their district to be granted access will be able to log into the system. And the way we're determining who has been authorized by their district to log in is to look at who from the district has been assigned to the circuit breaker claim contact function within the district's DESE school profiles listing. So only the folks that are listed as a circuit breaker claim contact user will be offered an opportunity to activate an account and set a password, which I'll go through in a bit. If you're not currently listed as a circuit breaker claim contact, but feel that you should be, we ask that you please work with your special education director and your directory administrator to be assigned that function within DESE school profiles. We also ask that districts specify no more than 3 folks as a circuit breaker claim contact. Of course, if there's a special circumstance in your district where you believe that more than 3 people should be logging in to provide claim information, please reach out to your circuit breaker liaison to discuss. And as I mentioned on the last slide, beginning in FY26, any user specified as a circuit breaker claim contact and given permission by their district to access the claim will also be able to submit the claim once it's ready. And of course, because we're looking at that circuit breaker claim contact function within school profiles as a way to get into this sensitive data in the system, we strongly encourage districts to please make sure you're keeping that contact information up to date, including removing any folks who may leave the district and adding anyone who's taking over circuit breaker responsibilities. So it's important to know that just having someone added as a circuit breaker claim contact in school profiles does not automatically get you into the new claim system. What that will do is allow DESE to send that user an email, which will ask them to please take a step, which is to click on a link in that email in order to activate their account. Important to know is that once the email is generated from DESE and sent to the user will have 24 hours to click on the link and activate their account. And if they don't take that action within 24 hours, you'll need to contact our office to have another email resent, which will again start the next 24-hour clock to click on the next email link. I'm going to try to be clear about exactly what that email looks like and describe that on the next several slides so you know what to keep an eye out for. So when the activation email comes through, this is a sample of what it will look like. It's not junk. It will be sent on behalf of no reply at salesforce.com. So you'll see that in the from is the email address it comes from, no reply at salesforce.com. The subject will say welcome to circuit breaker /champ2. And in the body of the email, you'll see welcome to circuit breaker /champ2. And then it will say to get started, go to. Then you'll see an ugly, what's really an ugly link. And in that ugly link at the beginning, and what's boxed here on the slide in a blue box, will be a URL that you should look for to affirm it is in that link that you're going to click on. It will say dese.my.site.com/portal. So that's the URL that you need to go to log in. So please do make sure that that's in the link. And when that comes through, do click on it. And as one more reminder, that link will expire after 24 hours. So please make sure that you take the time to click on that once it comes through. If you miss that link and you have not clicked on it within 24 hours and you contact us and say, hey, I need to have another email sent, the next slide shows you what that will look like. This is it. You'll receive a password reset email. Again, it will come from no reply at salesforce.com. The subject will be your new circuit breaker /champ2 password. And the body will say your password has been reset for circuit breaker /champ2. I just want to reiterate that this is the email that you'll get if you miss the activation or if you need to have your password reset. So in a scenario where you missed the initial activation email, the email that comes through will still say your password has been reset, even if the scenario is that you have not actually initially set your password. So again, you'll be asked to click on this ugly link, and that ugly link, once again, will include the dese.my.site.com/portal URL. So please keep an eye out for that and click on the link when it comes through. This next screen shows you where to go to log into the CHAMP system and the circuit breaker claim application. So you'll see once you've activated your account, you'll need to enter your username and password. The screenshot's there on the right. On the left is the URL that you will need to log in. It's dese.my.site.com/portal. And adding that /portal to the end of the URL is important. There are multiple different CHAMP logins, and this is the portal that you'll need to log into the circuit breaker application. To affirm that you're in the right location, if you look below the login button in the screenshot, you'll notice that there's some text. That text begins, this login provides access to the following DESE application, and then it lists a number of applications. The first application that's listed there is circuit breaker. So if you see that, you will know that this is the right location for you to enter your username and password to log into the circuit breaker app. This slide lays out some important steps that we encourage you to take in order to prepare for claiming. So first, establish users for the claim system. We've talked through that in quite some detail on the previous slides. So make sure your circuit breaker claim contacts are accurate and that folks have activated their accounts. Second here is to please ensure that all students are included in your SIMS reporting. As you're probably aware, there's 3 different periods where the students that are enrolled in your district are reported to DESE: October, March, and June. You please need to make sure that you're reporting accurately, because if a student is not in SIMS, they will not be able to be included on a circuit breaker claim. The next one, please make sure that if you have any students that meet the definition of homeless or state ward through and are in foster care, that they have been reported to DESE through DESE's homeless and foster care data collection process. On a circuit breaker claim, if you add the special indicator of homeless or state ward for any students, that does increase the reimbursement percentage that those expenses are offered. And we will validate the homeless and state ward status matches what you have reported through the homeless and foster care data collection process. And finally, please make sure that if you have any expenses that require OSD pricing approvals, that you have gone through the process to receive those OSD price authorizations. So for ISPs, if you have students attending unapproved programs, please make sure that you have those tuition approvals in the form of an ISP back from OSD. If you have one-to-one services that are being offered at approved programs for expenses above and beyond tuition, please make sure that you have pricing approval from OSD and have received your IPAs for those services. Those approvals, the ISPs and the IPAs, need to be in place in order for you to submit expenses with those types of services on your claim. So the dates are as follows. For extraordinary relief, we'll be opening claims for all districts in mid-February, and the submission for those will be due on March 27th. We'll review those and calculate reimbursements and provide reimbursements in May. For final year-end claims, that stage opens in April. We'll ask you to please submit in July. We'll review those, and the reimbursements are paid quarterly throughout FY27. So please make sure that you're filling them out timely. And I want to point out that even if you don't think that you will be eligible for extraordinary relief, if you would like to go through the process of entering your expenses to make that determination, anything that you do enter on your claim during the extraordinary relief stage will remain on your claim and be carried over for final year-end claiming. So don't be afraid to start the claim. If you reach a point where you've decided that you won't qualify for extraordinary relief, you can make the decision to submit it or not. It's completely up to you, but anything that you have entered will be carried over for you to use for final year-end claiming. There's a separate training module that will help you understand if you will be eligible for extraordinary relief. So please do take a look at that training module to walk through how that determination is made. And the next couple slides, I just want to reiterate that our office is here to support you. There's a number of different ways to seek support and to find out additional information about the claim system. So first, our webpage is available. It's called the Next Generation Claim System webpage off of the Circuit Breaker page on DESE's site. Among a number of things that are there for you, I just want to point out that we have about a 75 question QA document that we hope is pretty extensive and answer a lot of questions. So if you would prefer to look at stuff in written form, that's a great resource to download. We also have gone through and recorded more than 24 training modules, including the one that you're listening to right now, that describe very specific functions within the system. We hope that these modules are easy to digest and are of a reasonable size. So in particular subject areas. So if you need to, for example, figure out how to add a student to a claim, there's a module on that. How to make transportation placements, there's a module on that. And in addition to having them by subject area, we've also gone through and made chapters within each training module. So hopefully that helps you pinpoint exactly which particular scenario in a particular subject area would be beneficial to review. For extraordinary relief, we're also picking up our regular Zoom drop-in sessions to support districts. We'll be doing those from 9:30 to 10:30 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, beginning February 9th. Then closer to the extraordinary relief deadline, so beginning March 16th, we will move those Zoom drop-in sessions to every weekday. You can join us for the whole hour or for any amount of time that you have just to pop in and ask a question. You'll go to, and the URL is on the right here, tinyurl.com/FY26 drop-in, and that QR code also takes you to the Zoom link. So again, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, beginning February 9th, then every day, beginning March 16th. And we'll also be adding additional drop-in sessions in support of final year-end claims. So please keep an eye out on your email for additional information as those are scheduled. Next, we have an online claim system support form. The URL is there on the right, tinyurl.com/CB support tracker. If you go there, you'll be able to fill out a form that you can submit and expect a response from someone on the circuit breaker team within 1 business day. Just give us a description of what you're running up against or how we can help. And there's also an opportunity there for you to upload a file if, for example, a screenshot might be helpful to include. And then finally, please don't hesitate to reach out to your circuit breaker liaison. Every district has a liaison specifically assigned to their district. Hopefully that they're available to help you. Please feel free to develop a relationship with that person and reach out to them directly through email or through a phone call or whatever works for you. They're happy to set up a specific session to talk through any scenarios with which you need help, or just provide any guidance. We really do want to make sure that you're getting the support that you need to accurately and completely file your claim. So please don't hesitate to reach out if we can be of any assistance. Thank you again for joining us. Really appreciate you listening to this training module, and please do reach out. Bye.